afternoon, everyone, and welcome to LaughingPlace.com's October 22nd edition of Star Wars Talk. I'm Rebekah Mosley, founder of Laughing Place, and with me, as always, is our Star Wars editorial content director here at Laughing Place, Mike Celestino. Hey, Mike.
Hi, hello, how's it going?
It's going well. Long time no talk, right? We just got to chat on Monday.
That's true. Now we've divided the Star Wars news into Mandalorian and non-Mandalorian. So uh,
Yeah, that's true, huh?
I'm crossing my fingers. There's enough non-Mandalorian stuff to talk about in the coming months.
Yeah, well, we'll find out with these Mando Mondays, right?
Right.
Oh well, I guess we're gonna focus specifically on the non-Mandalorian Star Wars galaxy, and however, we aren't going to walk away from bounty hunters just yet.
Right.
Apparently this
Yeah.
week there was some bounty hunter fun.
Yeah. The sixth issue of Star Wars Bounty Hunters from Marvel Comics came out this week, and this is the first chapter in a new arc for the comic. I actually had forgotten that the first arc ended in the last issue, but this is, like I said in my review that I wrote on laughingplace.com, this is my least favorite of the four ongoing Star Wars comics right now. And that's kind of ironic because I love the Star Wars Bounty Hunters so much, but I'm not a huge fan of the art. The cover art's very nice, but the art inside is just not my style. It's very like stylized. Um, I don't know. I'll show you what it looks like here.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's just kind of like sketchy sort of art. And I think I prefer
The
at
more
least.
traditional.
Yeah, I like when Star Wars comics at least are a little more grounded or realistic looking in their artwork. This is very. I don't even know how to describe it. The art by this guy Paolo Villanelli, the artist for this comic. But yeah, I haven't loved this comic yet. And we're 6 issues in, so I thought it would have grabbed me by now. But hopefully it'll improve as it goes along.
Um, have there have they introduced any new characters though that have captured your imagination, or just overall it's been kind of F for you?
Well, the coolest thing about it is that this guy here, his name is Valence, Baylert Valence. There's the cover, yeah. And he was a character introduced in the original 1977 Star Wars comic book from Marvel that um, he was not canon for a long time because he
Okay.
got pushed to Legends canon, and then they brought him back. So now he's part of the main canon again, and this comic book focuses on him. He's like the central character, and he was also in a comic last year called Target Vader, where they that was like the first one that really put the spotlight on him in the current canon. But he's become the protector of this orphaned girl who's like the child of two like warring gangs. Like
Okay.
it's almost kind of like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing where a dude and a lady from two opposing gangs like got together and had this kid, and she's like the child's basically like the key to getting these gangs to get along or something, and he's like trying to protect her, but all these bounty hunters are coming after them and trying to kill him. And in this issue it's Forlom and Zuckuss, who are two of the famous Star Wars bounty hunters from The Empire Strikes Back. They all appear in that one scene with Darth Vader on the Star Destroyer when he's hiring all the bounty hunters to get the Millennium Falcon and stuff. But this one kind of showcases them tracking down these characters,
Okay.
and it's
Huh.
the start of the second arc. So I'm not really sure where they're going with it, but
Does this arc at least entice you a little bit more, or still, or about the same? Just can't get past that artwork.
yeah, I really don't love the art. I think that's
Yeah.
gonna be a big impediment to me
Okay.
enjoying the comic. I don't know why. It just doesn't like I love all the other Star Wars comics. I like the artwork and stuff, but this one for some reason it just doesn't do it for me. But as far as the story goes, it's a lot of like people chasing each other and then they have a big fight. Like it's that over and over again, which I guess makes sense because of the title of the comic is bounty hunters, you know?
Mhm.
So it's going to be people chasing other people, right? But
Right.
it feels a little repetitive to me. I don't know. It's
Okay.
you know, each week sees a new comic book, a new Star Wars comic book come out, and they kind of rotate through all of them. And whenever I get up to the Bounty Hunters week, I'm like not as excited to go pick it up.
So which one draws your attention the most?
Oh, the main title, the main Star
The
Wars
main
title, I
Star Wars.
think is the
Okay.
best one right now, and that's written by Charles Soule, who I think is
Hmm.
one of my favorite
Yeah,
writers writing for
you've even
Star Wars.
mentioned picking up non-Star Wars content from him
Yeah,
as so
yeah, and
very
then
cool.
but the other two are great too. The Darth Vader and Doctor Aphra are both really fun as well and interesting. This is just like the bottom of the heap for me, but I'll still keep reading and I'll
I was
keep
gonna say,
reviewing.
but it's still good.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, also this week they unveiled a trailer for the Tales Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge virtual reality adventure, and this is an Oculus experience that's coming later this year. And what can you share with us about this title, Mike?
Yeah, it's actually I think this was the announcement of the date as well, which is less than a month from now. We're getting it November 19th. So less than a month I'll be able to play this. I've got the Oculus what's mine called? Oculus Quest
Okay.
headset, so ready to go for that. And yeah, I'm super excited. The trailer looks really cool. It's very like action oriented, which I was not expecting when they first announced this. I thought this would be like, oh, you're wandering through, looking around Black Spire outposts and stuff. But it looks like there's a lot of like firing the blaster and taking out the enemies and stuff. And as you'll see as this kind of goes on, yeah, there you can see there's even like fist fights and stuff. And then you'll visit Cecil Slack's Cantina, and he's voiced by Bobby Moynihan, who's done some Star Wars before, and he's done DuckTales. He's most famous for DuckTales right now, as far as Disney goes. And then you can see. I find this very interesting thinking about Galaxy's Edge and the geography of everything, because you can see out the window where this is situated is basically above Oga's Cantina, which is really strange. Like, if you know about the story behind Galaxy's Edge and Batu and stuff, like Oga is basically like the Jabba the Hutt of Black Spire Outpost, and she controls everything, and she also runs the cantina. So it's odd to me that she would allow this other cantina to operate above her. But I wonder if they're going to get into that in the story, if that's going to be an element of this guy's backstory, and if they're going to talk about like a rivalry there or what.
Yeah, I agree. I'm interested to see kind of what this does to the storytelling. Oh, I didn't quite pause soon enough because
That's okay.
this also caught my eye, just like you were saying. It was, oh, hey, I can recognize, I have some ideas to where this is happening because I physically have been in this region and I recognize certain landmarks. So it was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so we're looking out over at Docking Bay 7, which is where the restaurant is in Galaxy's Edge, and you can see the ship parked on the top there. So that's where I was able to kind of figure out where you're looking out from.
Yeah, some pretty exciting additions to the mythology of Galaxy's Edge,
Yeah.
and then among the announcements. Oh, this is this a new character? This I want to say, is it Migo?
The species is not new, but the character might be new.
Okay, yeah, because
I
I
have
was
seen that species before.
okay.
Um,
And then of course they teased that we'll see some of our classic uh heroes, or yeah, heroes
yeah,
in the experience.
they've announced previously that Anthony Daniels would be voicing C3PO, so we get a little bit of dialogue here from 3PO, which is cool. And then today it came out that Frank Oz is actually playing Yoda. We already knew that Yoda was going to show up, but there was the question of who was going to be voicing him, because there are like backup voices for Yoda from the cartoons and the audiobooks and stuff, but they looks like they actually got the original voice of Yoda, Frank Oz, to play him in this experience as well, which is cool.
And in reading about it, I guess we'll learn more about the abandoned Jedi or the is it abandoned? Is that the right adjective? The Jedi temple that is on Batu, and encounter yet Yoda, who will help us. I'm guessing help us in our in a bit of a Jedi journey. But you know, Mike will choose not to be a Jedi. We know that about that about
Well,
Mike.
so the question is when this story takes place, because I think they've said that the main part of the story takes place around the same time as the land, which would be like the sequel era. But I think this like mini story in between is a flashback because obviously Yoda's long dead at this point, unless it's Yoda's Force Ghost, but it doesn't look like a Force Ghost there. So it must be like a flashback to an earlier era in Batu's history where you're interacting with Yoda. But I think the idea of this, the title of the game is Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, so it's multiple stories
Right.
taking place all on Batu, as is my understanding.
I was going to say, yeah, that would be the way that they're currently sharing it with us. We will take on the role of a droid repair technician initially is the story plot that they share at the very beginning. So yeah, and that will allow us, of course, to more explore the droid depot location and various things like that. So I'm excited and interested to see how this will change any of the perceived mythology of the park location,
Yeah.
and if we'll see any integration with the play app, right? Because you scan things and see
Right.
what ends up happening regarding that with once this arrives and once we're all back in the parks physically on both coasts as well.
The other question I kind of had about that is, it's interesting that you brought up the data pad because it would kind of be funny to be using. I mean, it does exist. The data pad does exist within Star Wars canon, so it would make sense to have pull that up and scan things kind of similar to the way you would in the park. But my other question was like, are there going to be like when you go in the droid depot, are there going to be differences between the way the droid depot looks in the park and the way it looks in the game? Because the game is like a little bit even more like immersive in the actual world of Star Wars. You don't have
Right.
like
A queue.
a cash register or
Right.
whatever with
Right.
Disney cast members working there and stuff. Yeah, and there's no queue to build your droid. Like what slight differences are there going to be? And there's not going to be like a bunch of like DJ Rex in a box or whatever that you can buy. So I'm curious to see the differences between what Droid Depot actually looks like in that world and the Droid Depot that we step into when we go to the parks. I don't know. This is just like little
Yeah.
minutia that's interesting to me. I don't
Well,
know.
and I wonder if we'll learn a little bit more biography or be offered biographies of these street vendors, right? All these little shops that we have in the marketplace. Will we learn a little bit more about the Batuans who operate said location? So it could be fun to discover and increase the amount of cosplay available to people because they'll now have Batuan biographies to directly represent, and so it'll be fun to see how this shapes the Star Wars experience.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. And I enjoyed the last VR experience so much, the Vader Immortal. So this will be another good from the same developers at ILMX Lab. So
I will admit
cool.
to extreme jealousy at not having had that opportunity yet, but my
It's cool stuff.
understanding, I'm pretty sure I've discovered that I have a peer in the nearby area who has such a system, so I might have to
Okay.
work out a visit at some point. So, also this week, StarWars.com unveiled some of the stories of the Padawan that we'll be meeting.
Yeah, so I find the marketing for the High Republic to be really interesting because it was supposed to start in August. It was pushed back to January, I think, because of the whole lockdown, shutdown, and everything. Got delayed about 6 months. But the way that they're promoting this is every once in a while on StarWars.com, they'll just put up short bios of each character, each new character that we're going to meet in the High Republic, and they did that again this week with some of the younger Padawan characters. So these are not like established Jedi. These are younger kids or teenagers who are training to be Jedi. You can see there's a Wookiee one. This one's a human dude and a lady. And this guy's got like some kind of a hound, which is interesting. I'm sure they say what it is in the description there, but yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of ride the fence of not wanting to know too much about this stuff before I've read it, and then also like having to do my job and learn whatever they want to say and get out there. I think ordinarily, if it wasn't my job to talk about Star Wars, I probably would avoid things like this.
Gotcha.
Or
But
just, I'm already sold on the concept of the High Republic. I'm already
I was
going to
gonna
be
say,
reading the book, so this doesn't make me want to read it any more or less. It's just okay. These are like I feel like if there were a Star Wars movie coming out, they would be a little bit more secretive about some of this stuff. But they really, I think it's an unproven concept because other than Yoda, this is all going to be pretty much new territory. And obviously, we're going to be on Coruscant in the Jedi Temple for parts of it. So we're grounded in that familiarity. But otherwise, it's pretty much all new territory, which is really exciting for me as a Star Wars fan that we get away from the things that we're kind of overly familiar with. But then I wonder how much is too much to learn before just absorbing the stories for myself.
are we? Am I remembering correctly that this is geared more towards your younger market? This is I don't want to say a teen series, but it's gearing more that way, right?
Oh, it's both. So there are adult level books in the High Republic, and there are young adult level books, and then there are uh, comics for both adult and the young adult readers as well.
And this title, are these characters ones that will be seen in specific books, or might we see these characters kind of spread throughout all these different? Do you
Yes, I
understand what I'm
understand what you're saying. I think that there are going to be characters that are peppered throughout that probably pop up throughout, but there are also characters that are going to be like I know that Daniel Jose Older, who's writing the IDW comic book series, which is the younger targeted audience comic book, has said that his comic is about Yoda and a series of Padawans. So I think that these characters are going to be mostly appearing in those comics, but I wouldn't be surprised if they also pop up here and there in the other stories. And I think this whole concept, this whole publishing initiative is designed to be kind of interwoven. All the
Gotcha.
stories are interrelated to each other.
Yeah, I noticed in some of the panels, some were speaking of their characters, whereas other authors were more guarded in a I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share that
Yeah.
yet kind of way. So I was curious if we also expected any interplay, but makes sense that we would.
Yeah.
For me, I look at these characters and I begin to craft kind of my own personas and which ones I think I'm gonna like. I feel like I'm gonna have a lot in common with this character. So I'm excited to see where they take her.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, I've never been a Jedi person, but they have said that it's not just going to be just Jedi, even though all these announcements have been here are the Jedi characters, here are the Padawans, but there are going to be, the other classes of Star Wars characters, the smugglers, the scoundrels, the bounty hunters and stuff. So we'll get to know them as well. I guess they're just either waiting to reveal those later or we'll meet them in the stories.
And this hound, I don't know, this hound makes me think that this particular Padawan isn't quite sure which side of the force he's going to end up on yet. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just my perception of the hound. Maybe it's my fear of dogs, but my perception of the hound.
He's got the red eyes, so yeah, that's a little
Yes,
scary.
that's true. And as always, you can add to your Star Wars wardrobe. I feel like each day almost now we get some new piece of wardrobe, whether it's shoes, purses, hats
Yeah.
that feature the characters of the Star Wars galaxy. What do you think of these, Mike?
I don't think it was you that I was talking to about. It was on my podcast. I was talking about these, and I was saying that I think they're amazing looking. I love the design. It looks really nice, but I am not the person to own these because I would never be able to keep them clean. I feel like whenever I get cool sneakers, they're like gross and disgusting in like a month, you know? Like these would be nice for I I don't know. I'm not I don't have that the kind of fashion sense that a lot of people do, but these would be nice for somebody who's very stylish to wear to Star Wars Celebration or to the parks, you know. Um, and I'll be okay with my plain blue sneakers, you know.
I
Uh,
love I love these.
yeah, it's
I
very nice
really
looking.
do. I could totally see buying them. I Oh man, yeah, no, I do adore these. I hope that I see others wearing them, and I'm interested to see what, if any, additional creative Adidas. I think it's the furry, the sense that your Wookiee fur is poking through the shoelaces and through the it almost makes it look like it's a Chewbacca, like a Wookiee sandal as opposed to a
Right,
sneaker.
right. And we were wondering like how you go about tying them without getting the laces all tangled up in the fur, and then like if that bandolier thing has to be detached before you tie the laces and stuff. And then I was also wondering what that little Millennium Falcon is there on the side. Like, does that go on the shoe or is that just a bonus in the box or something? And then there's also like a little, what is that? Like a little brown nameplate or something.
Yeah, it says Chewbacca,
Right.
the one there, and I'm guessing since this shoe says Wars, I'm guessing the other shoe has a similar plate that would say Star, right? So you'd have Star Wars.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah.
So as you walk around, but and I wonder if on the other shoe, if they have also, is it a bandolier? Is that what it's
Yeah.
called? Wonder if they have one going the opposite direction on the other shoe or not. See, these are the important questions that we have now this of the single tweet. But
I mean, yeah, it's certainly very cool looking. Not something that I would wear
and,
ordinarily.
and by the way, the package, it says, comes in a collectible box that has a Chewbacca poster and additional lace jewels of the Chewbacca name and
Oh,
Millennium
okay.
Falcon. So these would be those items that you can then thread your laces through to decorate the tongue of your shoe.
Makes sense.
Fancy, fancy.
$150.
You know what? Honestly, that I was surprised that it wasn't more because
Yeah.
for me as a seems like a standard price for a sneaker. So the fancy ones being 150, I was a little
Yeah.
surprised, to be honest.
I felt very guilty the other day because I had remembered we were talking about. I think it came up in a Trivial Pursuit question or something. We were talking about Reebok pumps, which were these sneakers that came out when I was probably 10 or 11 years old, and I made my mom buy me a pair, and they were like $100, and that was 1990. So this is 30 years later, and $150 for designer shoes, for
Yeah,
designer sneakers. It's not that bad. I mean, I refuse to pay more than like 50, $60 these days for sneakers, but
yeah.
there you go.
I fall into the outlet camp too. So there you go. But also happening was the Star Wars Force for Change program was announced. I'll let you take it away, Mike.
Yeah, so Force for Change was initially launched under J.J. Abrams when he was directing The Force Awakens, and it's just basically a excuse to use Star Wars and Star Wars fans, the fandom surrounding Star Wars, to help support a variety of charities, and it's a great cause, and they've raised a whole bunch of money and helped out a whole bunch of people, which is super awesome, and a lot of the celebrities behind Star Wars have gotten behind it. And this week they put out this announcement from Mark Hamill, talking about these robotics programs where they're teaching kids how to build robots and stuff. And I guess that any money that I honestly don't remember the ins and outs of how you're supporting this directly, but I'm guessing the money that you put toward the Force for Change is going toward helping kids learn about robotics and the sciences.
Well,
But
I know that previously with their Build My Droid program, that it helped to offer STEM opportunities to kids globally. So I'm imagining this to be an extension of that, because obviously droids, right? Droids are robots, so you can use that as a way to garner the attention on perhaps subjects that people tend might initially think of as dry, right? Some people think of science and math as a more uh, unfortunately, because of their experiences in school, may think of it as a more dry subject when it's actually quite a dynamic and fascinating area of study. And I love that we have now people using storytelling to bring these to bring these topics into our educational system and to encourage our young people to explore them. It's gone beyond kind of the stiff white coat lab imagery that people mistakenly had.
yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I think Force for Change has proven itself as a great cause and great at selecting a bunch of these worthy individual charities to contribute to.
And let's see, is there I was going to look and see if I could share a specific URL for that, but I do not see it right in front of my face. But hashtag first game changers seems to be what they're using in their Twitter campaign. So if you want more information on it, um, check it out, because it looks like they're going to take on the sports theme and they're challenging kids to redefine, revolutionize, and change and quote change the way the game's played. So check out the hashtag first game changers and learn more about this initiative that the creatives at Star Wars are bringing this time around. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, and lastly, Mike's about to introduce me to an aspect of Lucasfilm that I am very unfamiliar with.
Yeah, so this is not Star Wars directly related, but it is Lucasfilm related. And I feel like I covered on my podcast if it's Lucasfilm because they don't do a whole lot of other stuff besides Star Wars. So every once in a blue moon, we'll get something. This is a new Disney Plus live action TV series from Lucasfilm. It's a sequel to the 1988. I'm forgetting the exact year that came out. Oh yeah, 88. I said it right there. Movie Willow, starring Warwick Davis, who's a Star Wars actor, frequent Star Wars actor. The original movie was directed by Ron Howard, who's going to be serving as a producer, executive producer on the new series. And John M. Chu is going to be directing the pilot. There he is there. He made Crazy Rich Asians and a bunch of other movies. Very popular current young director, although he is exactly my age because I went to school with him.
Oh, seriously, that's very cool.
Yeah. Uh,
Now
at USC.
they say that this project went through a year and a half of development and now is finally being announced. So it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, we actually had a story back from spring of 2019 where the I guess it had come out through the trades that Jonathan Kasdan, who was one of the screenwriters on Solo: A Star Wars Story, was developing this sequel series for Willow. And then Warwick Davis, the actor, said that people ask him all the time, when are we going to get a sequel to Willow? And now he could finally say it's coming. So yeah, John Kasdan's writing the series with a couple other people. He's also the showrunner. And then John Chu is going to be directing the pilot. And Warwick Davis is coming back. So I don't know if Val Kilmer will reprise his role as Mad Mardigan. And if you don't know about Willow, it's basically I say it's George Lucas's most heavily Tolkien influenced project. It's very Lord of the Rings kind of medieval fantasy type thing. And you can check out the original film on Disney Plus.
I was gonna say that's now on my list of things I guess I should do is check out Willow on Disney Plus. So yeah.
My
Let's
favorite little tidbit about Willow is that the monster there's a big like two-headed dragon monster in it called the Ebersisk, and that was named after the film critics Siskel and Ebert.
Okay, that's cool. I love it. That's, okay, now you've made me even more interested in it. I learned something. Well, I'm trying to think, Mike. I think we've about covered it. There wasn't a whole lot going on this week. That's
Yeah,
what you've been
well,
writing about here at Laughing Place.
we got a half hour out of it. That's pretty good. And I feel
Yeah.
like I keep saying on the podcast we're in the calm before the storm because it's a week away from The Mandalorian season 2, and that's really going to be where the focus of Star Wars is over the next 2 months at least. So we'll be talking more about that on Monday for Mando Mondays.
And don't forget to like and subscribe this stream in order to keep up on all things related to the Disney company, whether it's the theme parks, Star Wars, Marvel, Disney Plus. Laughing Place will let you know about it. And Mike keeps us on top of all the things happening in the Star Wars world, and we're greatly appreciative of that. He also hosts a podcast, Who's the Boss Pod. So you can find him on Twitter at Who's the Boss Pod. Do you have a teaser for who you've got coming on this week, Mike?
Oh yeah, next week's going to be a real fun one. So I've invited fellow Laughing Place reporter Alex Reef on, and we're going to talk about our favorite Star Wars references on The Simpsons. Something I've wanted to do since the beginning of the podcast. So finally, I had like a moment, a breath to take before The Mandalorian starts to do a little fun episode about that.
Oh, fantastic. Sounds like a lot of fun. And let's see. So I'm not sure what's coming up later today. I know that Disney Trivia is always happening on Saturdays and Tuesdays here at Laughing Place. You can show off your wit and wisdom. Nah, just the facts you know, or maybe the facts you don't know. As we throw out questions regarding all things theme parks, Star Wars, Muppets, Simpsons. It's amazing how big the Disney empire has become in the years since Laughing Place began in 1999. But for now, I guess that's it from us here at Star Wars Talk.
They're saying tomorrow morning we're going live from Animal Kingdom at 10 a.m. I think it's going to be Jeremiah, right?
Awesome. Yeah. Tomorrow morning we'll be live from Animal Kingdom, walking around, showing you what's happening there. Whether it's raining or not raining, you never know. You never know what's going on there. So
I'll be live from Disneyland sometime in the next 3 years.
Thanks. Hey, I've enjoyed your visits to Knott's. I've enjoyed your visits to Downtown Disney. We're gonna have to figure out other places. I have to send you to random places like the Griffith Park.
I was actually thinking that. I was saying we should go to the
Griffith Park.
The birthplace of Disneyland, the Griffith Park merry-go-round.
And then I want to send you to the Ralph's that's featured in the film Gus. It still exists, so I want to send you there. So we'll see. We'll figure out where to send.
Yeah, well, we can walk in Walt's footsteps all around. I live in Burbank. This is.
It's true.
I'm 3 miles from Walt Disney Studios and everything. So
the market where the Hyperion Studios used to stand. The Tam O'Shanter. There's all kinds of places we can send you here and there. Yeah. The first Disney store over there in Glendale area. Lots of fun. Well, okay, now you've got me thinking. Okay. We'll have to talk about that off camera. But thanks everyone for joining us here at Star Wars Talk, and we'll see you very, very